My fiancée said she wasn't feeling it, just hours after I paid off her $60,000 debt. "You'll find someone more your level," she said, then blocked me. So I let her go, and took back something that left her screaming in a parking lot. My name's Daniel, I'm 30 years old, and I manage a local auto shop in Denver. It's not glamorous, but I love what I do. I've worked my way up from oil changes to overseeing a team of mechanics. Long days, sometimes messy, but honest work. I clock out tired but proud. That kind of life, it gives you a sharp eye for when something's broken, and whether it can be fixed. I met Lena on a Thursday evening at a friend's birthday dinner. We sat across from each other at a long table in a noisy bar. She wore this green sweater that made her eyes look electric. I offered her the last chicken wing, and she smiled like she'd just won something. That was it for me. She was clever, quick with a joke. One of those people who could make you feel like you were the most interesting person in the room, even when you were just explaining brake pads. We started dating within the week. And for the first year, things felt easy. Natural. She had bounce-around energy, always jumping between plans, projects, half-finished side hustles. She'd been studying communications, she told me, but dropped out 2 semesters before finishing. Said it wasn't the right time. She worked part-time planning small events and doing admin work at a yoga studio. Sometimes she dog-sat for rich people in the suburbs. I didn't judge. I came from nothing. Scraped together enough to buy my first toolbox at 17. Not everyone finds their footing at the same pace. 3 months in, she opened up about her debt. Quietly. One night while we were cooking pasta, she said, "I feel like I'm drowning sometimes." She showed me the numbers. Student loans, mostly. 2 credit cards, both maxed. A few late fees stacked on top. Around $60,000 total. She looked so ashamed. Told me she hated even bringing it up, but she didn't know how long she could keep treading water. She wasn't asking for money, she said. She just needed to say it out loud. I told her it didn't change how I saw her. And I meant that. I didn't fall for her wallet. I fell for the way she lit up around people. The way she noticed things, like how I always sniffed the milk carton before pouring, or how I kept a running mental inventory of socket sizes in the garage. A year later, she moved in. Said her lease was up, and her roommates were driving her crazy. We were already spending most nights together anyway. At first, we split expenses. But after a few months, I started picking up the slack. She'd forgotten to transfer rent twice. Then her car battery died. I offered to get it replaced, and she cried from relief. It felt good, honestly, to be able to help someone like that. To be needed. Eventually, the financial help became normal. I paid the rent, the utilities, most of the groceries. When her car finally gave out completely, I helped her finance a newer one. A used but stylish SUV she'd been eyeing. The loan was under my name. She promised to make the monthly payments. For a while, she did. We were planning a future. Or so I thought. She brought up wedding venues, baby names, switching to a joint account. She sent me ring pictures on Instagram and mentioned her Pinterest board like it was our shared blueprint. So when I proposed, it wasn't a surprise. I took her to Estes Park, set up a little picnic spot near the lake, and pulled out the ring. She gasped, hands over her mouth, then nodded before I could finish the question. It felt like everything was lining up. I finally had someone who saw me, not just the grease under my nails or my blue-collar job, but the man behind it. There was just one thing hanging over us, the debt. I thought about it for weeks, crunched the numbers. I had savings. I'd worked overtime, skipped vacations, held off on replacing my old Ford. I figured, why not just wipe the slate clean for her? So I did. As an engagement gift, I paid off every cent $60,000. Loan balances, credit card statements, all of it. I told her at our kitchen table, handed her the final zeroed-out documents. She looked stunned. "You didn't have to do this," she whispered. "I know," I said, "but I wanted to." She hugged me so tight I couldn't breathe. Said, "I don't even know how to thank you. You already did." That night we ordered Thai food, played a cheesy trivia game on her phone, and laughed until we cried. She fell asleep halfway through a movie, curled into my side, hand resting on my chest like a promise. The next morning, everything felt normal. She made coffee, kissed me on the cheek, said she was heading out to look at bridal shops and maybe grab lunch with her cousin. Sent me a text around noon. Found the cutest veil. "You're in trouble." I got off work early and started prepping dinner. I even picked up her favorite wine. When she walked through the door at 5, something was different. Not upset, not sad, just detached. Her energy felt empty, like someone had unplugged her. She didn't even sit down, just leaned against the wall and said, "Daniel, I've been thinking." I waited. "I'm not feeling it anymore." I blinked. "What?" She repeated it, slower. "This relationship. Us. I don't think we're compatible the way I thought we were." She said it like she was returning a sweater to a store. I asked if something happened. She said no. She said it wasn't about anyone else. She just didn't see a future anymore. You'll find someone more your level, she added. Someone better for you long term. Then she walked to the bedroom, stuffed a tote bag with some clothes and her laptop, and left. I stared at the door for 5 minutes before I even realized I hadn't moved. I picked up my phone. Blocked. Text. Call. Socials. Even Venmo. Like I'd never existed. Except I had. My bank account knew it. The car title knew it. And there was one other thing that knew it too. A document. Tucked inside my safe. Signed by her. Witnessed and notarized. With one specific clause. If we separate, and I've paid any debts exceeding $10,000, it becomes a recoverable personal loan. She hadn't forgotten the money. She just didn't think I'd remember the paper. She was wrong. The document wasn't emotional. It was a printed piece of paper we both signed during what I now see as a naive phase. One where I believed love and logic could share space. It was called a cohabitation and financial agreement. Lena had laughed when I first brought it up. I remember the exact moment. We were sitting on the couch eating takeout, and I told her I wanted to protect both of us, just in case. She'd raised an eyebrow, smiled, and said, "Sure, lawyer man. Even though I'm no lawyer." We had it notarized the next week. The main clause was simple. In the event of separation prior to legal marriage, any financial contributions exceeding $10,000 toward personal debts, educational, consumer, vehicle, or otherwise, made by either party may be considered a recoverable loan, unless explicitly waived in writing. At the time, I thought it was overkill, but I'd learned to be careful. My older brother once got cleaned out in a breakup. I didn't want to make the same mistake, so I tucked the signed copy in my safe and forgot about it. Until now. The next morning, I didn't go to work. I sat at the kitchen table, surrounded by manila folders and digital bank statements. The apartment was eerily quiet. Half her stuff was gone, half untouched. Her scent still lingered in the couch cushions. I made a list of everything I had covered in the last 2 years, not just random gifts or dinners, but serious payments. Student loan payoff, $42,800. 2 credit cards, $12,300. Cosign car loan, $17,600. Total, $72,700. And I had receipts for all of it. Every transfer, every balance payment. So I emailed her. Politely, calmly. I attached a copy of the document, a detailed breakdown of the debt I'd covered, and a statement requesting repayment, or at least acknowledgement, within 30 days. No threats. No anger. Just facts. 5 hours later, I got a response. From a new number. "You're serious? That's adorable. Good luck with that." Smiley face. She didn't even sign her name. The message had the tone of someone who thought they were untouchable. I stared at it for a long time. Not because it hurt. I was well past that. But because it confirmed everything I'd started to suspect. Lena had planned this. Not months in advance, probably. But she'd known. Maybe it was after I paid her credit cards. Maybe it was the moment she saw the debt zero out and realized she didn't need me anymore. She thought blocking me would be the end of it. But I wasn't done. I filed the paperwork the next morning with small claims court. I was meticulous. Every document sorted and scanned. Every dollar accounted for. I even included the engagement ring receipt, though I wasn't planning to fight for it. It was custom. She could keep it. I had no illusions of getting the full $72,000 back, but I didn't need to. The judgment would be public, collectible, attachable to wages and tax returns. It would stain her financial record for years. And then I remembered something even better. The SUV. When Lena's old car gave out, I helped her finance a lightly used black SUV. She'd been obsessed with it, big enough for our future kids, stylish enough to post about. But she didn't qualify on her own. Her credit was awful. So I took the loan under my name. She agreed to pay it monthly. The title was in my name. So while she was posting new beginnings and next chapters on Instagram from the driver's seat, I called the lender and confirmed what I already knew. The payments were under my credit profile. And since she had missed her last month's payment, surprise, the vehicle was considered delinquent. I didn't yell. I didn't warn her. I made one quiet call to request a voluntary repossession. They scheduled the pickup for Wednesday morning. That night, I couldn't sleep. Not from regret. From anticipation. Because Lena didn't care about the money. Not really. She cared about the image. She loved that car. She had filmed engagement road trip videos in it. She took selfies from the driver's seat every week. She called it her grown woman ride. And it was never hers. On Wednesday at 11:42 a.m., a flatbed tow truck pulled into a small parking lot behind a boutique gym just off Colfax. Lena was inside, finishing her weekly Pilates session. A gym employee later told me she came running out mid-session when someone alerted her. She was barefoot. She was yelling. At first, she thought it was a mistake. Then she saw the paperwork the driver handed over. She screamed, tried calling someone, pounded on the truck door, but it was done. The keys had been turned over. The VIN matched the repo order, and the driver had no authority to argue. A few bystanders recorded. Someone posted it on TikTok. I didn't see it until later. Lena sobbing in the background, shouting at a man who never once raised his voice. She still didn't know I was behind it. Not yet. And I liked it that way. For 3 days, Lena was silent. Not a call. Not a message. Not even a petty email. I knew her well enough to know that silence wasn't peace. It was a calculation. She was figuring out how to spin it. And sure enough, by Friday it began. A mutual friend, well, more of her friend, sent me a screenshot of her Instagram story. Lena had posted a black and white selfie, red eyes and all, with the caption, "When the people you love the most turn into strangers overnight." Just remember, karma sees everything. There was no mention of the car, but anyone who knew her, who had seen her posting from that SUV for the past year, knew something had happened. Then came the real performance. She uploaded a photo carousel, old pictures of us together, engagement shots, vacation smiles, captions full of half-truths. Phrases like, "We grew apart. I never expected to be abandoned right when I needed support the most. I guess some people help you just so they can control you." And the worst one, "When love comes with strings, is it ever really love?" That one burned, because I'd never asked for anything in return, not even a thank you. I didn't tie my support to demands. I didn't track what I spent until I was forced to. But she was making it sound like I had weaponized kindness, as if I'd dangled generosity just so I could yank it away. A few of her friends jumped into the comments to echo it. One girl wrote, "You deserve someone who doesn't see money as a leash." Someone else posted, "Glad you're finally free." But Lena had made one mistake. She underestimated how many people had seen how I treated her. Because 2 days after the post, another friend, a quiet one, someone I barely knew, DM'd me and said, "Hey, just so you know, people are starting to ask questions." Apparently, she told people we broke up because I didn't support her dreams, that I made her feel less than, that I used money to keep her close. But then someone asked about the car, and that's when things started to unravel. I didn't post anything for a week. Then one night, I logged in, opened my profile, and uploaded one image. No captions, no hashtags, no explanations. It was a screenshot, a clear photo of the signed, notarized cohabitation agreement. Her signature on the bottom right. Date stamped. In the middle, I highlighted one sentence. "Any financial assistance over $10,000 will be considered a loan repayable upon separation." The comments were off. I didn't want a debate. I wasn't looking for applause. I just wanted the truth to sit there. Quiet. Undeniable. An hour later, Lena deleted every post that mentioned me. The story? Gone. The carousel? Scrubbed. That night, I got a text from a number I didn't recognize. But I knew the tone. "You made your point. Happy now?" I didn't respond. Because it wasn't about happiness. It was about clarity. 2 weeks passed. I focused on work. My guys at the shop didn't know the details, but they knew enough to leave me be. I stayed late, got greasy, helped a kid fix his brakes for free one afternoon when I heard he was saving up for school. And then came the next ripple. Turns out Lena was trying to lease another car. Something flashy, probably to keep up appearances. But her application hit a snag. Her credit report now showed a repossession linked to her old SUV loan. Her name wasn't on the title, but the account was connected to her credit by payment association, and the missed payments were starting to bite. She called the dealership 3 times, according to one of their staff who used to bring his truck to our shop. Finally, she showed up in person and apparently made a scene. She had to settle for an older model sedan. Used. High mileage. No touchscreen. No Bluetooth. She posted a photo anyway with the caption, "Sometimes we take a step back to leap forward." But there were no hashtags this time. No tag location. The comments were turned off. A few mutual friends reached out quietly after that. Not to take sides, just to check in. One guy said, "Honestly, I'm sorry, man. We all thought you were the lucky one." I laughed when I read that. Because for a while, I thought that too. But now I understood something I hadn't before. Lena didn't want a partner. She wanted a ladder. Someone to pull her out of the pit without ever asking her to climb. And the moment she hit solid ground, she walked off, as if she'd built the foundation herself. Only the foundation had terms, and she ignored them. A few nights later, I got another message. This one from someone I didn't expect. Her ex, the guy before me. He sent a single sentence. "She did the same thing to me. I just didn't have the paperwork." Then he wrote, "Glad you got out." I didn't reply. I didn't need to, because I'd already gotten what mattered back. My peace, my dignity, and the last bit of leverage she thought I'd never use. 3 months passed. The court date came and went. Lena never showed. I had filed everything properly, submitted all receipts, and presented the agreement. The judge barely blinked. He read the documents, asked if she'd been served. She had, and ruled in my favor. The total, $64,200, plus court costs. I didn't expect to get it all, but now I had a legal judgment against her. One that could be enforced over time, through her wages, tax returns, or any major purchase attempts. It wasn't about the money anymore. It was about the record. She tried to ghost me. Instead, she got documented. A few people in our old friend group quietly unfollowed her. Not because I asked, I never spoke a word to anyone, but because people notice patterns. They remember the girl who always posted about hard work while never holding a steady job. They remember the stories that didn't quite line up, the drama that seemed to follow her around. Lena hadn't just used me. She'd made a habit of getting close to people who could give her leverage and letting go the second they expected accountability. But this time, she picked someone who kept receipts. One afternoon in early spring, I was closing up the shop when I saw something unexpected. Lena, outside. She wasn't yelling. She wasn't crying. She just stood by the open garage door, arms crossed, hair tied up, sunglasses in her hand. She looked smaller somehow, not physically, just deflated. "I'm not here to argue," she said. I nodded. "Okay. She glanced away. "I didn't think you'd actually go through with it." I didn't respond. She added, "You embarrassed me. Publicly." I tilted my head. "No, you embarrassed yourself. I just stopped covering for you." She opened her mouth, closed it again. Then, "I wasn't trying to hurt you." I believed that, strangely enough. She wasn't malicious. She was just used to things working out, to people cleaning up after her. And for a long time, I did. "You could have had it all," I said, not as a threat, just a statement of fact. She didn't argue. She just stood there in silence. Then she turned, walked back to her car, the cheap one she never posted, and left. I watched until she was out of the lot. And then I locked up and went home. 6 months later, I started seeing someone new. Her name's Rachel. She works at a nonprofit that helps veterans with housing and job training. We met when her car wouldn't start outside the shop. Simple alternator issue. I didn't charge her. She offered to buy me coffee as thanks. I said yes. We talk about real things. Not filters. Not clout. Not who's upgrading. Just quiet dinners, walks with her dog, and open conversations about where we've been. She knows about Lena. She didn't flinch. When I told her about the debt, the car, the contract, she just said, "Smart move." Not "how could you?" Not "wasn't that harsh?" Just, "smart move." As for Lena, I don't know exactly where she is now. Someone told me she moved to a different city, maybe trying to start over. I heard whispers she's working retail, maybe part-time, maybe not. No updates on social media in months. Last I checked, her accounts had all gone private. I hope she figures things out. Truly. But I also hope she remembers that not everyone forgets. That not everyone lets things slide. That the people you think are soft, the ones who open their homes, pay your bills, believe your words, are often the ones with the most to lose and the least interest in being played. One night, about a year after she left, I opened the safe and pulled out the old agreement. The paper was slightly wrinkled from where I'd folded it, filed it, unfolded it again. I thought about shredding it, burning it, getting closure the cinematic way, but I didn't. I slipped it back into the folder, locked it away, not out of bitterness, out of memory, a reminder that love without respect turns into debt, and debt, emotional or financial, always comes due. And that's the story. If you're still here, that means you're one of us. So go ahead, hit that subscribe button. I drop new chaos every single day, and trust me, tomorrow's story, it's even worse than this one.